Okay. I'll get Dr. Ulmer.
Very good.
And Judge, while Mr. Burmester gets his Ulmer meeting, Mr. Lunwood, can I approach?
Of course. Dr. Ulmer, good morning. If you would step in front of Brittany, we'll get you sworn in. You are still proverbially on the stand, so please isolate yourself. Please don't interact with anyone. If you need to go get a sandwich or something to eat, that's fine. But please do not interact with anyone, especially not any attorneys or investigators. Can you live with that? I just need a yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. If you would be back ready to take the stand again by 1, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Counsel, anything else on the record before we recess for lunch?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Very good. Court's in recess. Thank you. Mr. Burmer, is there anything we need to address before inviting the jury back in?
No, Your Honor. From my perspective, Ulmer, no.
Mr. Ramos?
Sorry, Judge. That's fine.
It's okay. Anything on the record before we invite the jury back in?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're still under oath. Okay, sounds good. Have some water? Okay. We're ready for the jury. All right, folks, have a seat. Mr. Burmester, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Ulmer, when we last left off, we were talking about the results from the Public Health Department.
Yes.
Neighboring the Public Health Department is the Tox Lab. My understanding is there was you had sent a vitreous sample to the Tox Lab for testing there.
It was routine to send vitreous samples to the state toxicology lab for volatile testing, which would mean looking for various alcohols, like alcohol that you would ingest, like ethyl alcohol or methanol or other alcohols that could be determined whether that would participate in the cause of death or not.
And vitreous fluid is from the eyes?
That's correct.
Okay. So in this case, did you get a result back from them?
If I can get that report back, that would be helpful. But my recollection was that the vitreous fluid was negative for any type of volatiles. Thank you. Yes, it's none detected for ethanol, acetone, isopropanol, or methanol.
Okay. Is there something important about vitreous versus blood with regards to alcohol that you're aware of?
Well, it's multiple things, actually. For one thing, it's kind of a sequestered area. You don't have direct blood flow to that area, so things just kind of pass through the membranes as opposed to having direct blood flow. And so it's kind of protected and it's delayed. And so like if you're comparing like a blood alcohol to the vitreous alcohol, the blood alcohol will be different than the vitreous alcohol depending on whether the alcohol is going up or going down in the intoxication time frame.
I see.
And then also because it's protected, you're less likely to have bacterial contamination of the vitreous fluid because some bacteria produce alcohols during decomposition, so you have more of this sequestered environment.
Okay, so a more perfect record, so to speak.
Yes.
So did you, you also sent out samples to NMS labs?
That's correct.
And what is NMS labs, to your knowledge?
I'm sorry?
What is NMS labs, to your knowledge? I mean,
They're a reference laboratory that does toxicology testing. So they do clinical toxicology as well as forensic toxicology. And we were using them at that time for any of our more complicated cases.
I see. Okay, and so you send it, and this lab is located in a different state or something?
That's correct. I believe it's in Pennsylvania.
I see. Did you get a result from them?
I did.
And what information did you get?
So the primary information was that there was a fentanyl level of 15 and a norfentanyl level of 3.3, and those are both in nanograms per mil. Additional information that was not confirmed but still indicated presence was naloxone, caffeine, and 4-ANPP.
Okay, so, and that's from the blood samples that were sent?
Correct. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
yeah.
because we did 2 different stages of testing.
Okay.
So this was all of the blood testing, and then after I got this testing back and we decided we needed more information, then we also had testing performed on gastric contents. And the purpose of that was to, A, determine if there were any other drugs present in the stomach contents that weren't necessarily showing up in the blood test, and then B, to give an idea of where the fentanyl might be coming from, because the question would be, was it orally ingested, or was it injected, or, you know, trying to narrow that down a little bit.
Okay.
And so that was part of the rationale for doing the gastric testing.
Let's stick to the blood for a minute. First of all, where did you draw the blood?
So initially, they probably would have attempted to do a femoral stick, but because when you die and you start going through all of these changes that your body goes through after you're dead, the blood clots. And so I'm not sure if this was specifically what happened for this case, but they probably tried to draw femoral blood, and because it's a smaller gauge needle, because they're just going down through the skin, they were probably unsuccessful in getting any of the blood to come up into the needle or any significant amount.
When you say they, who is they?
The autopsy techs assisting on the case with the autopsy, so that we have folks who are trained to assist with the autopsies, and so they will a lot of times do the toxicology sample collection.
Okay, so it's a team.
It's a
You and these other personnel.
That's correct. Our office is way too busy to just have the doc go boom, 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 and do everything. So
I see. And so, did whoever drew the blood from that team, where did they end up getting it from?
So they ended up having to go inside when we opened the body up, and they entered in through the inferior vena cava. And then you direct it down towards the femoral artery, because the syringe that you're using when you're collecting these samples, when you're going into the body, not through the skin, but once you're inside and actually doing it, is a huge syringe with a big long needle. So the needle itself is probably 5 to 6 inches long.
I see. So, I'm not sure, femoral artery, I gather, is the legs
You're going for the, yeah, so it's,
by your finger.
but usually when you're collecting it, when you're going through the skin, you're going in the groin area.
I see.
And so you kind of go femoral, inguinal region, and so in this particular case, you know, we weren't necessarily getting specifically femoral blood, but we weren't getting blood specifically from the inferior vena cava either. It was in that region.
Okay, so what is the inferior vena cava?
So in the body, you have arteries and veins. The arteries, generally, you're taking blood from the lungs that's oxygenated, and the heart distributes it out to the different portions of your body.
Okay,
And then the veins bring the deoxygenated blood back. And so the best source for collecting toxicology samples is peripheral blood, which is further away.
okay,
And so when you're talking about the inferior vena cava, the leg veins come back and they connect in the middle, and this is the inferior vena cava that then eventually moves the blood back up to the heart. And so that's the process of bringing the peripheral blood then back up. And so it's still essentially peripheral blood, but you're getting closer to the major organs.
okay. We'll talk about any problems with that in just a minute. So this quantity, you said there was, I think you said 15 nanograms per milliliter of fentanyl?
That's correct.
Okay. As a medical examiner, is that, explain what the importance of that number is.
So what you're doing is you're taking the information that you have and you're looking and comparing it to what would be expected in someone who's not taking the drug at all. You expect not to find any. Someone who's taking it as a prescribed medication, so you expect it to be within therapeutic range. And then once you start seeing above that, then you have the potential to go into a level that would be toxic, and if it's high enough, then potentially cause death.
Okay. And in this case, the number 15 nanograms in the blood, given its location.
So with the information available to me at the time of the autopsy, the decedent did not have a history of any kind of illicit drug use or prescription medication abuse. So the fentanyl level should have been 0. There should not have been any fentanyl or norfentanyl present. The fact that I have fentanyl present tells me that fentanyl was obviously ingested at some point recent. And then if you try to manipulate from the information that's available in the toxicology report as well as other toxicology references, then there's kind of estimated therapeutic range versus toxic range versus
15 nanograms per milliliter, is that a toxic range?
in someone who is not prescribed this medication and taking it routinely, it is toxic.
And what is norfentanyl?
Norfentanyl is a metabolite of fentanyl. So you're ingesting the fentanyl drug, and then it's being absorbed and going through the liver, and then you are having it broken down into other pieces, and norfentanyl is one of those metabolites.
Okay. And, okay, when it breaks down, like is it the body's way of getting rid of this toxin? I mean, it's breaking it down so it can get rid of it?
It could be breaking it down to be getting rid of it, or it could be breaking it down into a component that actually does the work.
I see.
So the drug that you ingest may not be the drug that's active. It might break down into other components that are active, or there might be other variables that play into it that I'm not describing very well because it's been too long since I've done this.
At some point in your at some point in this process, did you request a Doppel report, the report of any prescriptions?
That was a routine process that we did on cases, just to review and see if there were things that we should be paying attention to. And in this particular case, I believe that we reviewed at least 1 year's worth of medical history, and we might have gone back even a little bit further once we saw the fentanyl present. But I don't have any further information other than just the fact that there was nothing that was seen except for some testosterone, I believe, was the only thing that we saw that was in Doppel. So they don't see all medications. I think they just predominantly see things that are classified.
Schedule 1,
Right,
2, 3,
right.
4. Your Honor, I'd like to just show the court and the council State's Exhibit 1-27.
One moment, please. I'll fix that, I promise. Scott, do me a favor. Would you mind unplugging and plugging back in to see if that helps? Thanks, Scott.
Yes. I'm just asking, is it 3006? Okay.
Mr. Burmester, the witness is currently looking at States 1-27.
Your Honor, the state would proffer that 1-27 is a self-authenticating document, and we would offer States 127.
Is there any objection? What's that? Is this a one-page document?
It should be 2 pages, Your Honor.
Scott, can I see the second page? I don't know that Mr. Ramos saw the second page. And you should take a look at the second page.
Oh,
before
sorry,
you-
Judge.
Yeah.
I see the first page. May we approach that?
Of course. Mr. Burmester, your next exhibit or next question, please.
Yes. The, excuse me. So, did the medical examiner's office receive prescription medication bottles and or prescriptions with the body?
Yes, they did.
And so did you or your team make note of those?
Yes. There was information in the investigator's report, and then there's also a separate form that shows the inventory that would have been done by a different investigator.
Okay. Can I take a look at State's or Defense Exhibit 3006, please? I think that's been offered and admitted and published.
Yeah.
So,
It hasn't been published yet, but.
oh, it
no
hasn't?
objection. No objection.
Okay. Would ask that it be published.
Okay, one moment. There you go.
Okay. So there appears to be 5 substances. Can you, I guess they're not substances. These are taken from labels of bottles?
Yes, these are medications.
Okay. Can you, starting from the top, going down to the bottom, can we talk about those?
So there's an injectable form of testosterone, doxycycline, hydrocodone/acetaminophen, and then disulfiram and naltrexone.
Okay, so let's what is the doxycycline?
It's an antibiotic. It's a broad spectrum antibiotic.
And according to the label, when was that prescribed?
That was prescribed July 3rd of 2019.
Okay. By Dr. Peterson?
Correct.
Okay, then the next one is hydrocodone.
It was prescribed June 29th of 2016 by Dr. Charles Lind.
Okay. And hydrocodone, do you know what that is? Or
It's a pain medication. It's another opiate pain medication.
okay. Then we've got disulfiram.
Disulfiram was prescribed December 9th of 2019 by Dr. Andrew Peterson.
And does it have multiple uses?
It does. As a prescribed drug, it's commonly used for alcohol prevention, so another common name for it is antabuse.
Is it?
And then as an off-label use, it's used for chronic symptoms of Lyme disease.
I see. And naltrexone.
Naltrexone was prescribed August 24th of 2020 by Dr. Hunderman. Again, it's also used for helping to prevent people from drinking, and then it's also used for opiate reduction. So
And does it have an off-label use?
it's also used for chronic symptoms or complications from Lyme disease.
And this last one was prescribed in when?
2020. It's August 24th of 2020.
And how many were prescribed according to the label?
90 pills were prescribed. There were still 88 pills that were remaining.
Okay. Now, this is probably a super dumb question, but take hydrocodone, for example. If it's old and beyond its expiration date, does it spoil like food spoils and becomes more toxic, or not?
Not that I'm aware of. Generally what happens is that these medications tend to get less useful. They get weaker, if anything, but pretty much for a lot of them they're stable for a really long time.
Okay. Let's move on. You said that at some point you asked to have NMS lab examine the gastric contents.
I did.
And you published a second report?
Yes.
This is In case you have to, if you can't remember, oh, you've got the gastric in the main one?
I hope, well, the supplemental is attached with the
Okay.
original, so I've got it.
So, what was tested for out of the gastric contents?
So, again, it was for a complex toxicology panel that does, a wide range of drugs. And in this particular, so in the gastric contents, and I just have to be careful when I'm looking at this because they've combined both items into one report. So there was some ethanol present. That was 279 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay, let's talk about that for just a second. Does that mean there was 279 milligrams per deciliter of vodka or beer in his stomach when they tested it?
Well, it's not that simple because you have to take the volume of the gastric contents and then determine a bunch of information. So in essence, yes, per the aliquot that was measured, this is my understanding of it, that's the amount that was present in that test.
Now, you mentioned before about decomposition. Is that a potential problem for this
It
gastric
is.
sample?
It is, because you'll have bacterial contamination in the stomach, and so that could potentially create a false positive.
Is there a way to determine what is alcoholic beverage versus decomposition alcohol?
No.
What else did you receive back?
So there was a presumptive positive for acetaminophen. There was a presumptive positive for caffeine. Quetiapine, which is an antipsychotic medication, was present at 16,000 nanograms per mil. The ethanol level was confirmed. Again, fentanyl was present at 20,000 nanograms per mil, and the norfentanyl was present at 52 nanograms per mil, and acetylfentanyl was present at 29 nanograms per mil.
As a medical examiner, do those numbers mean something in particular to you?
They mean call the toxicologist.
Okay.
Basically, as a medical examiner, I can say that we know that he reportedly had a drink at bedtime, so that might explain that presence of ethanol, or it could be decomposition, either one. We know that he was not reported to be taking any medication, so then I have no explanation for the quetiapine or the norfentanyl or fentanyl or the acetylfentanyl.
You've already said if for someone who is not using fentanyl that the 15 nanograms per milliliter in the blood was potentially toxic.
Correct.
How about 20,000 nanograms per milliliter in the stomach?
I can honestly say, since I haven't talked to a toxicologist in over 3 years, that I would defer to them because it sounds like a lot, but without having reference ranges to go by or someone to consult, I would not jump on that bandwagon by myself.
Quetiapine, did you find any evidence that he had been prescribed quetiapine, either through Doppel or through the medicines that you looked at?
No, and I didn't see any mention of it in the medical records that I had reviewed at that time, so.
Well, that's a good point. When you made your report, were you able to come to an opinion, a conclusion?
Yes,
About cause and manner of death?
yes.
And at that time, what was it that you were relying on to render this opinion?
So I was relying on information that was provided by family members on, how he'd been feeling or how he'd been acting. I was relying on information that was acquired by our death investigator. I was relying on information provided by law enforcement. And then I was also reviewing medical records from the physicians that I knew of that I could get records from.
Okay. In addition to your own observations of autopsy. And
Right, and then in addition to,
Lab
reviewing
reports.
Doppel and seeing what
So-
his history was.
Okay, so what was your opinion of the cause of death?
My opinion of the cause of death was drug intoxication by fentanyl.
In addition to the NMS labs, was there other evidence that you looked at specifically, say for example, pulmonary edema, that corroborated the information that NMS labs provided?
Yes, he had heavy lungs and foamy edema. Like I said before, some of that could have been contributed to the CPR, but it was still quite an abundant amount that was present. So I would have a hard time excluding that wasn't also caused by the drug intoxication.
That's primarily occurs due to opioids,
Yes.
and
It can happen with other medications too that cause respiratory depression,
but there weren't any other intoxicants or medications other than
That-
fentanyl and
that were
quetiapine
prescribed or that were contributing.
that we know of. There was quetiapine found, fentanyl found.
Quetiapine can cause some sedation, but in this instance where we didn't initially see it in the blood,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to make of that since it was only seen in the gastric.
Okay. What opinion did you come to with regards to manner of death?
Could not be determined.
Okay, now let's talk about that determination is guided by a statutory scheme, is that true?
Yes, we have classifications that it's divided into, and basically it's for statistical purposes. It's not really designed for other purposes per se. And so we're limited to natural, accident, homicide. I'm just blanking here.
Suicide?
It's suicide, and then undetermined as well. And so because this investigation was still ongoing when I retired, I felt that could not be determined was the best solution for me to finish my report before I retired.
Okay. So, were there some, since the investigation's ongoing, you didn't have access to certain things?
Correct.
Did you have access to the forensic examination of electronic devices?
No.
Did you have access to financial documents investigation?
No.
Okay. At some point, do you release your report to family? Or
Yes, unless there's some reason not to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They need it for insurance purposes and just other documentary reasons.
okay, so on Can we take a look at State's Exhibit 124, please?
The witness has it.
Do you recognize this?
No. Oh, it's scrolling through, so
Oh, okay.
it's a records request form.
Okay. There's some notations on it about ready for pickup and pickup. And
You may need to zoom in, Mr. Burmester.
this record is from the Office of Medical Examiner, is it not?
Yes, but it's not something I would normally be looking at, so.
I see. Okay. We can, let's move on. During the course following the death of Eric Richins, until the records were released, did you have an occasion to talk to Kouri Richins?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay. And how did that, mechanically, how did that operate?
She would call and leave a message with the front office staff. The front office would leave a message on my desk, a written actual message form.
Can we see State's Exhibit 122, please?
And then I would call her back.
Okay. Is
Do you want her to see 122?
122?
My apologies, one moment. Witness can see it.
Okay.
Are those the slips that you received from your reception?
Yes.
Okay. And then, is it the policy of the OME to document when you talk to people, such as when you call?
Yes,
Kouri
we have a
Richins?
log form that we fill out.
Okay. I see State's Exhibit 123, please. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, it would have been information that I typed in from a conversation.
Okay. On March 17th and then later, April 21st of 2022?
Correct.
Do you have an independent recollection of those conversations today?
Not explicitly, no.
Okay. So, did Kouri Richins provide you certain information in those conversations?
Yeah, she provided me a lot of health-related information, indicated that he'd had Lyme disease 2 years ago, and that he was still having problems with neuropathy, so therefore he was getting treated for that. And that's apparently a chronic problem that you can have with Lyme if it's not treated right away with antibiotics. Also indicating that he wasn't feeling well currently or right before his death, that he was not feeling well in general and his chest hurt.
Did you explain to her about the granulomas that you observed?
Yes, and so the not feeling well and chest hurt could have been part of the problem with just recovering from COVID, as well as this granulomatous lung disease that he'd had from his chronic work exposure.
Okay. Did she offer up any other information to you?
That his mom had died from a fungal infection 3 years prior.
Okay.
And so, we did fungal stains just to make sure that his lungs weren't showing any indication of fungal pneumonia. And then just the fact that you know, he was a stonemason, and that's where he was getting this exposure to what I was seeing in these granulomas. So that was helpful to me because, you know, he's cutting stone. So
you mentioned that you did this stain. That's part of the histology. You went back and looked for the, or was that the?
that was for the fungal organisms. Yeah.
And did you exclude that?
Yes.
Okay. On April 21st, you had another conversation with Kouri Richins?
Yes, I did, and I believe that I indicated that the case was still ongoing. I asked if he ever had any history of drug use, and she said, other than just using some THC gummies, he had no history of drug use. So, so that was helpful.
Never used drugs is what your note says?
Correct.
Did she talk to you about those two substances on your list, the last one,
Yeah.
ETOH tests?
Yeah, the medications that are used for helping people not to drink. Is that what
Yes.
you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, basically he was being prescribed those medications to try and help with his chronic Lyme symptoms.
I see. Did she say he hadn't used those for a while?
Yes, that he hadn't taken any of it for 4 months.
Have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are we admitting 122 or 123?
The state would offer State's Exhibit 123.
Any objection, counsel?
23.
Yeah, that's,
So, yeah, no objection.
Okay, 1-23 is admitted.
no
Mr.
further-
Ramos is witness? Okay, very good. Did one, okay, very good.
Introduce 122 as well, or just 122?
Just 123. We can, I have no problem with doing 123.
Yeah,
It's just
can we do 122 as well?
Okay, very good. States 1-22 is also admitted.
Good afternoon, doctor.
Hi.
How's retirement? Besides today.
It's good.
Good.
I recommend it.
I'll get there one day. We talked about a lot, and I'm trying to kind of drink out of a fire hose, so I'll try to follow some semblance of a good timeline. But I want to talk about what you just left off on. You indicated chronic Lyme. Could you explain what that is?
So with Lyme disease, you can get kind of an antibody response that then also affects your body as it's trying to ward off the Lyme infection. And so you can end up with like chronic fatigue syndrome or peripheral neuropathy or things like that. Things that maybe more recently people would associate with long COVID. So
Okay. Is it painful? Bless you.
I guess it can be.
Yeah, you guess.
Yeah, I mean, peripheral neuropathy is definitely can be painful. So some people will just have tingly pinpoint feelings. Other people, maybe they just can't feel anything. So it varies from person to person. So.
And did you gather more information about Eric's Lyme disease and the pain that he was feeling?
No, I I have not had the opportunity to review any of his medical records that I reviewed 3+ years ago. So my current recollection is limited to reviewing the information that I have available to me.
That's fair. Did you confirm that he actually had Lyme disease?
No, but it was in his medical record, I do believe.
Okay. Would you have been able to, having what you had at the time, you doing the autopsy, the records you had, would you have been able to confirm that?
I don't know how long the antibodies stick around, so I can't answer that effectively.
So possibly.
Possibly, but I don't know.
Okay. You indicated that one of the, and I can't remember which one, so if you can't remember, we'll pull up the medication that was listed. You mentioned opioid reduction for one of them. Do you recall that?
That's the naltrexone.
Naltrexone. And that was found in his system, correct?
No,
one was
naloxone
not.
was found in his system. That would have been given by when they were doing CPR, so that would have been given by EMS.
So the naltrexone, that's the one he had a prescription for.
Correct.
Tell me about opioid reduction. What do you mean by that?
So for people who are chronic abusers, whether it's using too much of their prescription medication or using illegal narcotics, and when they want to stop, then they might need something else to help them stop.
Okay. And do you recall how many were left?
Of the naltrexone?
Correct. Would it be helpful to pull it up?
Yes, it would be very helpful.
Just publish it just to
I want to say it was like
the doctor.
88 out of 90. So 90 were prescribed and there were still 88 present.
And how do you know, with the information you have, do you know how often they were, or Mr. Richins was told to take it?
If I were to go back and review the scene photos and look at the bottle, then yes.
But not with what you have.
Not with what I have, no. But this prescription was from 2020.
And do you know if those who are prescribed naloxone, is it something that you need to take daily, or does it vary just whenever you feel the urge, I guess?
I'm sure it's supposed to be taken on a certain time frame, but I don't know what that time frame
All right,
is.
no problem. Mr. Burmester was talking to you about the blood alcohol level, or rather the presence of alcohol. I'd like to talk about that now.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that initially there was no presence found in the initial testing, but then there was an expanded panel done, and it was at that point that it was found.
Well, it was found in a different sample.
Correct. The gastric.
So the initial testing was done on the vitreous fluid, which was negative.
And was it found in the blood?
No.
So in the vitreous and the blood, no alcohol found, correct?
Correct.
But then when with the expanded one, it was the gastric, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, does that tell you in your profession, and you had mentioned earlier that maybe it's a toxicologist world, so let me know if that's the case here, that does it tell you, those two things that you have, or I guess three, blood, vitreous, right, and then gastric, does it tell you kind of chicken before the egg, which one was ingested first? Can you tell me that?
I can tell you that there was no measurable intoxicant related to alcohol that was in his blood or vitreous.
And with your knowledge, if it's in your gastric, does that indicate timing-wise whether that was first and then it goes to the blood?
If it's from ingestion, I would say possibly. If it's from bacterial decomposition, then it doesn't tell us much.
Okay. And did you do any I don't know, additional tests or studies to try to determine that in this case?
No.
Okay. Was that asked of you?
No.
Okay. At any point, was it asked to determine whether or not the fentanyl was taken along with alcohol?
These are questions that I would not be able to answer because I don't think that they are answerable.
Okay. Actually, I'll go back to that. Let's go to the, was it 122, the calls, the messages, Katie? Can you just show that to just the witness judge? And page 2, please. Do you recall that?
Not specifically, but I mean, it's a typical note that we would get.
And this is one that was addressed to you.
Correct.
At the very bottom, there's a signature. Is that yours?
Yes, it says the call was returned on March 17th of 2022.
Perfect. Could we go to the case notes, Katie, for that same day, please?
It's over here.
123 can do it.
She has it as well.
Sorry, I didn't know it was posted. What's in front of you, is that for the March 17th that you returned that call?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on the case, is it called the case log, case notes? What would that?
Same thing.
Same thing. Is that automated?
Is it automated?
In terms of the, let me be more specific. Is
No,
it
I have to type it in.
But in terms of the time and date,
No,
it's not automated.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't know for a fact.
Okay. Could we just do a? Yeah. Could we not call it out? Yeah. So there you have a full view of what I see as case notes, case log, correct?
Right.
Okay. And so you can see that on the top, it has a date, time, doctor, and I guess who's calling. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, I know you're retired, whether you would have inputted that information, not the contents of it?
I believe I certainly would have entered the date and time. So yes, I think I would have entered that.
Okay. And
Because generally I would try and enter these as soon as I was done with the phone call. It didn't always happen in that fashion because I'll usually make paper notes and then, because you can't remember everything and you're not recording the phone call, so.
correct. So when you get to the point where you are inputting it, correct me if I'm wrong, the purpose of inputting that information is that whoever's working on that case can have the information that you have.
As far as the investigators and stuff?
Sure.
Sure, but mostly it's just a documentation of what happened.
That day.
Yeah.
Okay. And it seems like whenever calls were made to you, you did a pretty good job of summarizing what was discussed.
Yes, it was more for my recollection maybe than anybody else's.
Correct. And with that, kind of like you said, you were trying, or you indicated we. I imagine your team, correct?
Yes.
Does that include anybody outside of the Office of Medical Examiner?
No.
Okay. So people at the Office of Medical Examiner working on this case, notes for you to try to determine what the manner or cause of death is going to be in this case. Fair?
Correct.
And as people are calling you to get information, you're uploading all the contents of those calls, correct?
Yes.
And you do that with every call?
You try to do it, but sometimes you might be someplace you might be in a situation where you can't, like if, for example, when I was in the process of retiring, I might not be working from the office, I might be working from someplace else, and it just may not be feasible to do it because I might be making phone calls on my personal phone, for example.
Sure.
So,
And so in this case, you did get a note that Ms. Richins called on March 17th, and then you did speak with her that day, correct?
yes,
And then you put that information in there.
yes,
And in that discussion, you talked about the lungs and how Eric's mother had died previously, correct?
yes.
And I want to get the timing right. Mr. Burmester asked you about the fungal testing that you had done. Was that before or after this call?
I'm sure it was before because since I already knew they were granulomatous lungs, I wanted to look at what might be causing that problem.
Okay, and when did you get the results back from fungal?
Well, when did I get the slides back?
Yeah, when did you determine that the fungal?
I can't say for sure when I reviewed the slides.
So it could have been before or after this call.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to review them until they were back,
Right.
so I don't know the timeline on that.
Okay.
It would have required special stains, which I think I did order up front, but I'm not sure that I have that information
Okay.
in front of me.
You discussed the NMS labs and how you had sent out, or your team had sent out for further testing. The expanded lab, is that, or the expanded panel?
Yes.
Okay. Can we pull that up? Is that up on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. And you saw a couple of these during Mr. Burmester's direct examination, correct?
Yes. One
Okay.
for the blood toxicology and then one for the gastric toxicology. Yes.
Okay. And now we're just clicking through all of these fairly fast. I just want. Do you remember how many pages you received back from NMS Labs?
What I see is what's in the autopsy report.
Okay, so and let's pause there, Katie. So with the NMS Labs, the only document that you received was just that one? The one that's in your...
The one that's in the original report and then the one that's in the supplemental report.
Okay, and those are the only ones you received from NMS?
That's what I received, yes.
Okay. If you could highlight, Katie, for the doctor, the page number at the bottom, for the last page. Can you see that, doctor?
Yep,
And how many pages is that?
999.
Now, you had mentioned earlier toxicologist. As she was clicking through all of these, I think there's graphs and everything. Is that something that's more suited for a toxicologist to be able to interpret what's in those documents?
For this extent, yes, yes.
Okay. So I won't ask you any questions on that.
Okay. I've never seen one of these before. It's
That's good. Would have been an awkward cross-examination. No, we talked about that. I'd like to talk to you about I think it was before the lunch break. You talked about the anaphylaxis, kind of like a reaction. Do you remember that?
yes.
Could you talk to me a little bit more about that? I want to make sure I understand that.
So he had a history of allergies, just a broad history.
Right.
And I don't really know how much information I had, and I don't know whether I was more concerned about the COVID or about the allergies when I put that section in of the epiglottis. But for people who have chronic allergies and who are known to carry EpiPens around, then that's always something that you're concerned about.
Okay. And so what is it that you found exactly?
I found nothing of interest. It was just normal inflammation, and I didn't find any histamine response that would be of concern with anaphylaxis. So you have cells that release the histamine, and that's what causes you to have the throat swelling or whatever response you have when you have these severe allergy reactions. So.
And the allergy reactions, they could be for plants or trees?
Yeah, I mean, the one that we classically see is for peanuts.
Peanuts. Medication.
Could be.
Um,
There's really only a couple of things that I've actually seen it for in the office. Peanuts is one of them, and maybe another thing would be like for like an antibiotic.
like penicillin.
Yeah.
What about opioid drugs?
No, I've never seen that.
You never seen it? Does it exist?
I don't know, but it possibly could. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who's allergic to stuff, but I've never seen it, so I can't answer intelligently about it.
That's fine. If somebody were to have been, I'm allergic to, well, I shouldn't say this. This is fine. If somebody's allergic to a medication, and you, it would come up, right? And so that medication or that nut allergy, you would think that you would see it every time that individual ingested whatever that was.
No.
So a nut allergy could happen once and not again.
Could happen. Usually what happens is it doesn't happen, and then all of a sudden it happens. I mean, it's going to vary, and this is, again, getting a little bit out of my realm,
That's
but
fine.
You may have a mild response to it, but you never know when you might have a maximum response to it. But the range of drugs or whatever that would cause that type of reaction are beyond my purview, and so.
So you can't say sitting here today that fentanyl causes an allergic reaction in anybody.
I cannot. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying I can't say it does.
If it had, you would have seen it here.
I don't know what type of allergic reaction it would cause. Not all things that cause. So most of the medications that your doctor says you're allergic to, it's just that it didn't work for you. Like they'll switch you from your one high blood pressure medication because now you've got a cough.
Okay.
And so they're saying, well, we need to put you on a different one. And it may not be that you're allergic to that medication. It may just be that that medication either A, isn't working for you, or you have a side effect to it that's undesirable. And so when you have all of these things that you're listed in your medical record that says allergies, it may not really be an allergy. It's just where they document that stuff.
Understood. The food particle that was, you indicated that you saved it. Is that correct? Food particles?
The gastric contents,
And the gastric contents, correct.
we saved a portion of it.
Okay. And did you locate any THC gummies in there?
Nope.
Okay. Did you look for them? I should have asked that first.
I'm sure they would have melted by then.
That's fair enough.
And there was no measurable THC in the toxicology analysis either. I don't know that I would have had to order that specifically. I can't remember.
Okay, fair. Can we pull up the... may we publish, Judge? Just to doctor.
So we're going to show the witness this document. Okay.
Jen, can you see that, doctor?
Yes,
The time of death, that is, you are referring to the time that it was called, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Now, when Mr. Richins actually passed, do you know?
No,
Okay. So the time of death is just the time it was called.
that's correct. We have limited information that we can go by, last known alive time, and when CPR was performed, once they stopped performing it. And if there's no obvious information in between, there's maybe some soft factors that we can use to kind of narrow it down. But typically, I'm going to go by last known alive time and when his time of death was called by EMS or in the emergency room or wherever.
Okay. Can we go to the second page?
Another possible explanation would be time found. So those are the three kind of guidelines.
Okay. And now, with what you have there in front of you, I want you to just review that real quick. Do you recognize both pages of the document in front of you?
Yes, this is the form that when you request a death certificate, this is what it looks like.
Okay. And is that the final one? We could,
Yes.
Okay. Move to admit. Is it 3? 300? No, 7. 3007.
Do you want to use defendant's exhibit for the time?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Mr. Burmester, defendant's 1088.
We do not object.
Okay. Defendant's 1088 is admitted. Are we publishing to the jury?
Yes, Judge. Second page, that highlight. Or
Will
that
you show
call
the
out.
first page before we get there? Just so they understand what they're looking at. Thank you.
So this is a certificate of death here, correct?
Correct.
And now the information that's contained in it, this was, I don't know, like for a better word, you signed off on it.
Yeah, we do a preliminary death certificate initially. Just you have to have a death certificate of some form in order to initiate a lot of things that occur after death for, you know, the funeral home and whatnot. So we'll do a preliminary one that's basically just says pending.
Okay.
And then once we determine what the cause and manner of death are, then we amend it.
Okay. Let's go to the second page if we could do a call out. And so this is the pending on that first line, correct?
Yes.
Now, the amendment, it seems to just track the same day. I imagine that's not obviously how it went. Maybe this was internal. Could you just help explain that? Is that just when the amendment was?
That's the amendment when that was done, yes.
Okay. Now, initially, the immediate cause of death was pending, as you said, and then it changed to drug intoxication, fentanyl.
Correct.
Now, that was the cause of death, and now the manner of death was pending to not determined.
Correct.
Okay. Now, that never changed, correct? The manner of death, as I'm reading through it.
What do you mean it never changed? It changed from pending to not determined.
Sorry, since then, I
Oh,
apologize.
no, it hasn't
Okay,
changed.
so that's remained the same.
Correct.
Okay. Now, we could take that off, Judge. You indicated that as you're working specifically on this case, you are gathering information from everywhere.
Correct.
So from NMS labs, correct?
Yes.
Getting fungal slides or testing done,
Yes.
speaking with law enforcement,
Yes.
and using their reports
Yes.
from your OME investigator, correct?
Yes.
From calls that you've received from Ms. Richins,
Yes.
from calls you received from other members of the Richins family,
Yes.
and those are all documented as we saw in the case log, correct? Correct.
Correct.
Now, did you have meetings with Summit County Sheriff's Office?
Yes. I mean, I certainly had phone calls with them. I don't know whether I had in-person meetings or not. I can't remember.
Okay. And during those calls, what did you learn, or meetings?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. Were you told that law enforcement believed that it was a poisoning? If you don't remember, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah. I'm sure that I had some logs in there that indicated some of the conversations, but
But you don't remember now.
I don't, yeah, I mean, I can't remember individual conversations. That's why I make notes.
Right. Now, regardless, with all that universe, right, of information, you can also ask for follow-up, correct?
As far as what?
Anything. So let's say Ms. Richins indicated something to you, you can have a conversation with her.
Yeah,
Try to get a little bit more. Correct?
yes,
And when you're speaking with, did you speak with Detective Woody?
I did.
And so with speaking with Detective Woody was giving you information, correct?
Yes,
And you could also have a conversation with Detective Woody and say, well, could you follow up on X, Y, or Z? Correct?
I usually don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could. I'm not sure where you're going with this.
I'm just trying to see that all of this you indicated, you were gathering all this information so that you could ultimately make a determination as to the manner of death, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And so you indicated that you had, make sure I get this right, natural cause of death?
yes,
Suicide was one of them?
yes,
Homicide?
yes.
Not determined?
An accident.
An accident. So, for example, the accident, with the information you have here, if you were to have been given information, hypothetical, that Mr. Richins took a pill, not knowing what it was, that could have assisted you in determining whether it was an accident.
Correct.
Okay. And that is why it's important to get all the information, all the details to you so you can make that determination.
Correct.
Okay. And ultimately, when was it? I think it was June, but correct me if I'm wrong. When was it that you made that final determination of undetermined or not determined? Do you recall the date? Or would you like to see the death certificate? Or
The death certificate said June 22nd,
so that would have been it.
I would imagine.
Okay. So after you have all the information, you've gotten everything back from NMS Labs, you've spoken with everybody, the world of that information, the answer you came up with was not determined.
That's correct.
Okay. And I know you've been retired. When did you retire?
January 1st, 2023.
So, about 6 months before, right? In that time, did you see in your line of work overdose deaths?
All the time.
from fentanyl?
All the time,
Accidental?
all the time.
Not determined?
I probably saw some of those as well.
And then, I imagine suicide?
Yep.
Would you say that during your time that has increased? That number that you saw?
During that era, yes.
And what era would that be? 2020 to 2022?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
2018 to 22.
Were you familiar with the one pill, one kills? One pill kills, I mean?
Not
Were you-
that phrase, but
Okay.
certainly the concept.
And were you trained on that in while you were, or before you retired, as to the increase in fentanyl overdose?
I saw it. I didn't have to be trained on it, yes, but I mean, sure.
Okay. My point is that you've seen a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of fentanyl overdoses or before you retired.
Yes.
Okay. Promise you I'm almost done. Okay. Let me check with my colleagues. In your case log, the case notes, specifically that March 17th call with Kouri, there was no reason for any of us to believe that that call did not happen, correct? No, I know it's funny.
Correct.
Yeah, because you did have that call on that day, correct?
Yes.
And you did speak with Ms. Richins on that day, correct?
Yes.
And you did discuss lungs and what was in that day, correct?
Whatever it said.
And as well as you knew, at least at that point, or timeline's off, but at least that you looked into that fungal situation, and you were aware of Eric's mother's passing from something related to fungal infection, correct?
From the information that she provided, yes.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you so much, Doctor. Enjoy retirement.
Mr. Burmester.
So, to be clear, the fungal infection information was not you providing it to her, but rather she provided it to you. The fungal.
From that
Phone call.
information, yes.
Yeah.
But the testing that I performed was just routine testing for the type of case that it was with the granulomatous lungs.
And so could we get that last, I didn't get the dates right, I guess, on the death certificate. Did we look at that last page again? I thought it was already published, and yes.
I mean, so the jury can see it right now. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What part do you want us to zoom in on?
The second page. Now, do you create this document? You, the OME, the Office of Medical
Vital
Examiner?
records. I mean, I type the basic information in, and then this information is populated through vital records.
And so the only thing I see on here is June 6th. So you change, no, not change, you finalize the cause and manner of death on June 6th. Is that a fair statement of what's going on there?
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay. Thank you. So, as of June 6, 2022, did you have any of the text evidence from Kouri Richins' phone at your disposal to make your determination?
No.
How about phone calls from Kouri Richins?
Anything further would have been what was documented in the call log.
That you didn't have recordings of phone calls or Verizon or T-Mobile or whatever things, correct?
No.
Okay. And you didn't have access to any financial documents at this point?
No.
June 6th. Okay. Let's talk about what's going on there. That's you have those categories, and that's required by statute. You need to call it at some point in one of those homicide, suicide, accident, natural death, or undetermined, correct?
Yes.
So homicide, that isn't a legal criminal determination.
No, it's simply a term that we use indicating that the death was caused by another person.
As opposed to suicide, for example.
Yes.
Okay. When you're, this is, I would guess at its core, a scientific endeavor. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
What you do, or did do?
Yes.
So, in pursuit of science, you don't start from a presumption, I would assume, that you look at all the evidence before you make, and you go off of the evidence that you receive before you proceed in any direction.
Correct. You might have a working hypothesis, so you have a direction to start in. But yeah, you have to be receptive to all of the additional information.
Okay. And by June 6th, in your possession, did you have anything that would help you to determine whether this was a homicide, poisoning, or accidental, or
No,
suicide? Okay. And that's why you came up with the decision you came up with.
that's correct.
Do you consider motive evidence when you're making a determination of homicide, suicide?
Not typically.
I think I just missed it, but you said there were some things that you are unaware of whether they can be determined, or the things that can be determined. Is one of them whether the alcohol found in the gastric fluid ingested or decomposition, to sort those two out?
There's no way to sort those out because the chemical makeup is the same either way.
I see. Lyme disease, is it fatal?
It can be.
I see. Did you see any evidence that Lyme disease was fatal in this case?
No.
Okay. Finally, is there anything, any change in your opinion that the cause of death in this case was fentanyl intoxication?
No, I don't have any additional information to provide otherwise.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Ramos, anything within the scope of redirect?
Yes. Of course. No post-it note. You know it's going to be quick. From June, when that change was made, until you retired in January 2023, you had the opportunity to change anything if you felt it warranted changing, correct?
It was discussed with law enforcement that if they had additional information that they would let me know. I was busy signing out hundreds of other cases. I was still cutting cases, and this was not the only case that I was working on.
And during that time, you weren't provided with any additional information from the law enforcement that did cause you to change anything.
No, because my understanding was the investigation was still active.
Okay. And from that point on, obviously you have nothing else to do with it, correct?
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you for your time.
Sure.
I have nothing else, Your Honor, for this
Dr.
witness.
Ulmer, thank you for being here. You can step in.
Okay.
Folks, let's take a restroom break, please. Please rise for the jury.